Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to that video. And this is a paid request for Kyle. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Patreon and a Cash App for those interested. Feel free and I'll get to your request as soon as I can. And this is for Senseless, the 1998 film starring Marlon Wayans. And you have quite a few other people recognizable in this. You got David Spade. You have Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky. He's in this. Rip Torn, may he rest in peace. He's in this. Matthew Lillard, who's in the live-action Scooby-Doo films and Scream. He also has a role in this. Also a few cameos. Jeanette Goldstein, Vasquez from Aliens. She has a cameo in this as a nurse. And then at the very, very end, Sherman Hemsley is trying to be the Jeffersons, like this random kind of, oh, now we're in the Jeffersons. Moving on up to the east side, which that song actually does play, and Sherman shows up. Now, before we go forward, this is directed by Penelope Spheeris, who did Wayne's World. She did Black Sheep. So she's a competent comedic director. And apparently, she says that the Weinsteins, who produced this, because it came out from Dimension, that they screwed it up. They messed it up, they rewrote stuff, they changed it up, and the result is because of the Weinsteins' influence and getting in the way, which a lot of people have said that the Weinsteins would get in the way. She said, supposedly, because again, I can't confirm this, but she says, well, that's not funny. And he's like, I think Harvey supposedly told her, well, it's my money and I'll do whatever the hell I want. I want this in the movie, so deal with it. And apparently it was one of the worst experiences she had as a director. And this is all from what she says. Because the movie itself, there are some people that are fans of the film. It has a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. I thought this film was just okay. When I say okay time waster, there are people that go, well, what does that mean? It means I don't have a big love. I don't have a big hate for the movie. It's one of those that if I put it in the background and I'm doing stuff and every once in a while I pay attention and doing other stuff, it's fine. It's not too egregious. I think because the cast is likable enough. But I think the script and the jokes just were not up to par with the cast. The cast was way better than the story and jokes that they had. And because of that, some people may like the jokes. To me, every once in a blue moon, something comes up, like, okay, a little bit of a smirk, but overall, it probably were those reasons as to why this film did not really do well when it came out. It was a flop. And Marlon Wayans was not really showcased too many times as a lead. Now, he had The Sixth Man, the basketball one, that didn't do well. And then later on, after being in the Scary Movie films, he had A Haunted House, which was a success. Haunted House 2. And then some stuff that went straight to streaming. Now, he did appear in other movies. He was in Requiem for a Dream, among other flicks. But Marlon is one of those guys that I liked Marlon Wayans. I liked his stand-up. I liked some of his supporting work in drama. He was good in Requiem for a Dream. Comedy, he was good in Scary Movie 1 and 2. But I don't really love the films he stars in. I still don't think he's had that one movie that's a standout for him as a star. I don't include Scary Movie 1 and 2 because I think of those as more ensemble pieces. But for him, as a star, like Damon Wayans, I could go, I love Major Payne. That to me is a standout comedy for Damon. Teen Ivory Wayans. I love A Low Down Dirty Shame. I love Most Wanted. One's more comedy action, one's more straight up action. I thought those were two good films. Sadly, they didn't do well, but just me personally, I think those films are standouts for Teen. I think for Marlon as the lead, I just can't think of any for me. And I can understand signing up for this film that the gimmick could be funny. Hey, you got the woman that did Wayne's World and the gimmick of you're taking this drug and you have super senses, and then later on in the film you overdose and now you only have 4 out of 5 senses, and there's a lot of comedy you could get out of that. I just think they did, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but it felt like it could have been a lot more. Could have been a lot better. Now, Marlon Wayans plays a guy that wants to be a junior analyst. He is going to college. He wants to support his family. He's sending any money he can to help his mom and his siblings. And he's doing whatever he can to get by, whether it be doing tours, donating blood, plasma, donating sperm, whatever the case may be. Which then leads to him signing up for this experiment where the doctor, Brad Dourif, is going to inject him in this stuff. Well, actually, he gives it to Marlon, and he's supposed to inject it himself. And then by doing so, he gets these super senses. So he uses those in order to try to further his college career to get this spot as a junior analyst in order to appease and Rip Torn, who's a guy kind of ready to choose who's going to be the winner of this competition. David Spade is the rival. Now, David Spade, before I did that, like Marlon Wayans, he's fine. I think he does fine enough in the little dramatic parts. The comedy, I mean, he's trying. He's utilizing some of his physicality. I think there are times he could be pretty funny in those parts. But, like I said, I think there's a lot more they could have done with the senses. It just kind of seems very lazy. Oh, he's hearing women fart, and then he can smell their farts even though they're across the way, so he's putting a match to his nose. Okay, he puts a newspaper up and he's reading the stocks. And maybe that's another issue, is that the plot of trying to be the junior analyst is not really a compelling plot. It's not really a compelling story for your comedy. But yeah, that's supposed to be a backdrop of just this guy wanting to succeed for his family. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to care about that part of the plot. And like a lot of these movies, they throw in a bit of a love story. That he falls in love with this girl. And like I said, Marlon Wayans does fine. David Spade, I just didn't think he was in it enough. He appears every once in a while. And when he's there, he tries with what little he has. Like when he's talking to Marlon Wayans and he says something to the fact of, ironically speaking, you don't know shit. I thought that was kind of funny. Marlon tries to get into this frat and David and his groups deny him the opportunity. There's a few times when he's with Rip Torn or the others, he's trying to suck up to them. But it would have been nice to have a lot more back and forth friction between the two. A lot more rapport, a lot more maybe verbal barbs and jabs against each other that really go back and forth. Instead of a rap battle, like a verbal comedic battle between the two. I think that could have livened things up and been pretty funny. And I'm surprised David Spade was in this, because Penelope Spheeris is not a fan of his. I do remember that being a thing on Black Sheep. So I don't know if something changed, or during the making of it, or afterwards something else happened. I don't know. Although I do like Black Sheep quite a bit. A lot of people hate that film, but I think that film's quite funny. To me, at least. Matthew Lillard, I thought, was the best part of this movie. He plays Marlon's roommate. And the thing about his character is that he has all these piercings, and he's a guy that seems like every semester he like gets into a different topic or a different fad or a different motif. So in this case, it's piercings. So he's got all these piercings. He's got a Prince Albert. He's got his key to his room chained to his belly button. So, but he comes out with pretty funny observations, and also he seems like a very sweet character because he's so supportive of Marlon. He's always trying to egg him on. Apparently those Dutch feel the same way. They love it's the Matthew Lillard fan club, I guess. But I'm part of the fan club too, because I like that guy. Even in films like 13 Ghosts, SLC Punk, I think Matthew Lillard is pretty talented. And again, I thought he kind of stole the show in this. Thought he was the best part of it. When he starts thinking Marlon is doing drugs, he's like every night he's got to put more of that experiment in him. But again, for Lillard, he thinks, oh, he's taking drugs, he's taking, I don't know, steroids, or whatever the case would be. He's like, oh my god, my friend's a junkie. And when there's a point where Marlon collapses because of his senses not working, but he thinks, oh my god, he overdosed. And they think they're going to do the Pulp Fiction, put the needle in the heart. And Marlon's like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? Lillard gave a sweet, supportive, fun performance that, like I said, definitely it livened things up compared to some of the other parts of the movie. Like I said, Jeanette Goldstein, she appears in one random bit, not random, but one bit where she's a nurse that's trying to pick who's going to go see Brad Dourif. Brad Dourif plays it pretty straightforward as the doctor, and he gets to a point where he kind of disappears from the film. Just later on, oh, another dose won't hurt me, and that's when the 4 out of 5 work. That's going to last a few days. Brad Dourif tells him this, but then you never see his character again, so I don't know if he had more scenes and was cut out, or something else happened. But again, it just felt like with the Senseless stuff, it felt like just a lot more could have been done comedy-wise with that. Where, oh, he plays hockey well, so we get to see him play hockey well. Or again, the whole fart sequence. Or, okay, he's at a basketball game, he's talking shit to Patrick Ewing. And that's probably the closest I kind of had fun with the whole Senseless stuff. Because he's being blind and he turns and Patrick Ewing has to be... Of course, Patrick happens to be sitting right next to him. And they try to employ some of his comedic physical aspects. Well, like some of his body goes a bit paralyzed, or him trying to pretend to be blind, things of that nature. But I don't know, it's one of those scenes where I was in total shock that this film was rated R. And it is. If you look up the rating, it is rated R. Why? Why is this film rated R? I have no idea. I have no clue as to why this is rated R. There's nothing in it to really make it rated R. There's no nudity. There's no violence. I don't remember any language. And actually, I wish they would have pushed the R rating, in fact. That might have been even funnier. But why was this rated R? That'd be a good question to ask. Because I have no idea what could have made this rated R. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I looked at like 3 spots, 3 places, and it said this was rated R. I went, what? How? Why? So maybe it was like mistakenly put on those 3 places, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And I know I had the DVD around for the movie around here somewhere. I couldn't find it, so I watched it online. But in the finale, I mean, spoiler alert that the finale, he grows blind, his clothes get taken, someone gives him some clothes for $50. Then when it's clear, he has like a gold tuxedo suit on. He does the competition, he wins, but then they try to do this anti-drug thing. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't accept this because I used enhanced stuff. And I'm sitting there going, but in this instance, you did it on your own. That's why it didn't really work. Like, if he used his senses to win that spot at that moment, and then he's like, is this really the way I want to win this? Is this really the way I want to earn this? And like, maybe if he was pushing friends aside and he was changing who he used to be, he's like, you know what? I'm sorry, Mama. I'm going to have to find another way to help you guys, but this ain't the way to do it. There's no honor to it, or maybe he wants to honor his dad, or like I said, if they worked that into the plot, then maybe that ending would make more sense to me. But what's the point of this anti-drug part when the whole finale you studied, you wanted legit, so you deserve it because you did it legit. I mean, the only time he really did a lot of that with the senses was reading a newspaper and being able to say some stops. Which, hell, that only happened because he failed his test because the damn drug made him almost unconscious. So, take that for what you will. So to me, that would even things out. Well, the drug made you unconscious. Well, now, do what you were set out to do anyway. And if you continue to use it, that would, I don't know, it just, I didn't really buy into the whole thing. And then Rip Torn says, hey, you worked in the mail room and maybe in a year and he does, and a year goes by and then he's successful and everything's fine and dandy. And then for some reason they pull of Jefferson's moving on up to the east, and then have Sherman Hemsley cameo. It just felt like it came out of nowhere. So yeah, it's one of those scenes where the love story was kind of meh. It's take it or leave it. David Spade, I thought he could have done a lot more in the movie. I don't think he was used as well as he could have. Matthew Lillard was definitely a bit plus. Marlon, like I said, the damage I don't mind. Super senses, then I think that they could have built a lot of that whole using only 4 out of 5 senses. If it just feels like they could have milked that for a lot more for what it's worth. I think there's a lot more comedy you could have gotten out of that. And it's just, he dressed differently and he pissed off Patrick Ewing. For the most part, that's what it is. And, the initial kind of, he can't move his arm type of thing. But yeah, if they wanted to push the R rating, you'd have it be like he's trying to have sex, but then his dick and stuff don't work. So then he's trying to do these kind of smooth operator type of moves that impresses her. Oh, you're so selfless. But he's doing it because he can't get his equipment working. Like, really, they said, I'm guessing their intention was not to be R-rated. This clearly feels like a PG-13 movie. Hell, that'd be like if Tommy Boy was rated R. So, something about this, the MPA looked at it and they just had a shit fit. I don't know what. But, as it is, it's an okay film with some okay moment. The cast is trying its best on a weak script with not the best of jokes and not the most interesting plot with the junior analyst shit. Who gives a fuck? But if the cast interests you, it's at least worth a watch. You could do a lot worse. But it's definitely, I mean, compared to his brothers, it's definitely not Major Pain. It's definitely not A Low Down Dirty Shame among other guys. Like Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, like Tommy Boy with Chris Farley, other movies of that era. And you think about it, not many people really talk about this film. Not many people really bring this film up. There is a fan base, but I don't think it's a huge one. But there is one. And again, I don't think it's awful. It's just there. So take that for what you will. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.